Good evening, everyone, to today's event of Quantum Serbia community. So this is a 15th event of Quantum Serbia. And before we start with our speaker, Andrei Diev, I will just say a couple of words about our community and about our guests. Quantum Serbia is a community of quantum enthusiasts and experts in the field with the objective to promote the study and the use of quantum technologies in Serbia or for the people who have any relationship with Serbia. We are open community also for other nationals and other regions of the world, and we are very happy when our guests from other communities and from other countries are joining. That is why very often we have the events in English. This event is going to be recorded and is going to be published on our YouTube channel. So this is 15th event since the beginning of this group in 2020. We had opportunity to hear about quantum technologies from many different aspects, theoretical, practical, quantum computing, cybersecurity, different ways of applying and studying quantum technologies. Our meetup group has currently more than 600 members, and I invite all those who are watching at this video recording to join. And for those who would like to be more active, I'm inviting also to take contact with us through a chat of this Zoom meeting, and we will come back to you to discuss potential collaboration. So today we have honor to host Andrei Diev, our today's speaker. Andrei graduated from Lomonosov Moscow State University in Moscow in physics, quantum electronics, and quantum optics. In addition to that, he obtained master's degree in financial economics from International College of Economics and Finance in Moscow, and is currently a student in Master of Computer Science program at Računarski Fakultet in Belgrade. Andrei worked as researcher at Russian Quantum Center in Skolkovo in Russia on theory of condensed matter, at Russian Research Institute Huawei Technologies on stochastic optimization and AI in Moscow, and currently he works as senior analyst at MTS, which stands for Mobile Telesystems Company in Russia. And today he will give us a talk on transformation of modern business driven by quantum technologies. So Andrei Dmitrievich, can you?
Yes, that's me. Let me first of all share my screen.
Yes, please.
So you can see it.
Thank you.
Just give me a second. Yes. Can you see the screen properly?
Yes.
Good. All right. Let me first of all thank Sasha for a great introduction, and let me proceed with my own introduction of the topic that we're going to cover today. We'll talk about what is quantum technology, what areas it consists of, like quantum computing, quantum sensors, cryptography, and so on. We'll discuss what a business application of quantum technology and how does the quantum technology solve problems which arise when using classical approaches. We'll figure out what might be a quantum technology-based product and how quantum technology already drives changes of modern business, and we'll have a glimpse on how the modern business will look like by 2030. We'll also mention the so-called quantum-inspired classical approaches, a novel subfield of classical algorithms that has recently attracted lots of attention from the point of view of business community. All right, let me briefly duplicate my background. As Sasha rightly noticed, my name is Andrei Diev. My background mainly comes from theory of condensed matter, which I developed as a student at Lomonosov Moscow State University and in Russian Quantum Center. I've also been involved into the research in the fields of stochastic optimization, graph theory, machine learning, and so on, when I worked as a researcher in Huawei. And currently I'm continuing my education in fields of economics and finance. And I work as a senior analyst in Mobile Telesystems, Moscow, Russia, which is the largest telecom provider of our country. All right, so we begin with the definition. Quantum technology is a rapidly emerging field of science and intersection of physics and engineering. This field unites several interrelated areas such as quantum information processing, simulations, cryptography, sensors, and so on. Each of these areas relies on such quantum mechanics phenomenon like quantum superposition, entanglement, tunneling, and so on. As I've mentioned already, there is also the domain of quantum-inspired classical computing, which encapsulates the properties of quantum mechanics in a nutshell of a classical algorithm. Here on the slide, I highlight three subfields of quantum technology that, to my point of view, have the greatest commercial potential. Those are the quantum computing, quantum encryption or cryptography, and those quantum-inspired classical computing algorithms. The first area, quantum computing, includes the noisy intermediate-scale quantum computers, or NISQ computers. Those are the processors where the quantum algorithms are run. Currently, there are two areas of these quantum algorithms, like variational quantum algorithms and quantum optimization algorithms. People also name the areas of quantum machine learning, distributed quantum computation systems, adiabatic quantum computation systems as also the components of quantum computing. The second area, the second domain, quantum cryptography, is mainly concerned about developing communication secured by laws of quantum physics, which is sustainable to attacks from both classical and quantum computers. Currently, it includes the subfields of quantum key distribution, mistrustful quantum cryptography, position-based quantum cryptography, post-quantum cryptography, and so on and so forth. Quantum-inspired classical computing algorithms mainly include quantum-inspired of QI classical machine learning, QI classical optimization algorithms, QI classical modeling of complex system, quantum Monte Carlo, and so on. As I've mentioned already, each subfield has commercial potential to be discovered now and fulfilled within the following years. Now let us discuss each technology in detail, beginning with quantum computers. First of all, let me notice that quantum computers will be capable of solving a wide variety of tasks, enabling a revolutionary quantum leap in speed and quality of solution of these tasks. The groups of the tasks solved by quantum computers are the following. First of all, those are the NP-hard problems like max-cut, traveling salesman, max-k vertex cover, knapsack, and other combinatorial or continual optimization problems that can be mapped on those problems that I've just announced. The second area is modeling of complex systems, for example, many-body ground state preparation, simulation of quantum systems, constructing electronic Hamiltonians, etc. Currently, these types of problems are solved on classical computers or supercomputers with a majority of algorithms that imply exponential complexity. The quantum counterparts offer polynomial complexity, which indeed is a quantum leap in the speed of the solution of such problems. As a matter of example, I can specify that an exponential algorithm run on classical computer that would need more than 3,000 years to solve a problem like I've just announced. The same problem can be solved by quantum computer with polynomial quantum algorithm for only 11 minutes. So the leap is indeed quantum. The rest applications are machine learning. Quantum computing may enable you with quantum supervised, unsupervised reinforcement learning, and some numerical solvers like variational quantum factoring, SVD, nonlinear differential equation solvers, and so on. Well, now it should be quite clear what types of problems may be solved by quantum computer, but it will be interesting to know if there are any application of such tasks to the industrial problems. And let me tell you in advance that there are plenty of those. Let me also specify that the universal quantum computer is still under development, but current NISQ computers, noisy intermediate scale computers, already prove the fundamental possibility of enabling the quantum supremacy in the nearest future. That's why the pretty large demand for quantum computer is formed from the point of view of industries. The first industry that has vast application for quantum computer is logistics. The applications are improving accuracy and speed of scenario simulation, improving last mile delivery, disruption management, and so on. And here you may see that the last mile delivery market is projected to grow more than $80 billion by 2032. And I should add here that one performance improvement of last mile delivery could lead to annual savings of $400 million worldwide. The next industry is banking and financial markets. The applications are the following: portfolio optimization, derivative pricing, and risk management. You can see as well that, for example, $10 billion are yearly lost in revenue because of the poor data management, and other examples as well. The next industry is chemicals and petroleum, where quantum computer may help accelerating design and discovery of new chemical methods and materials, and developing of different chemical products. And here you may see that the chemical industry is about 7% of global GDP, which are quite large numbers. And here you may also see that the molecule relevant for this area may be modeled with only 116 qubits compared to 10 to the power of 34 bits needed for classical computer to solve the same task. Right, electronics is the area where quantum computer would help with material development, product design, and manufacturing improvement. You may also see the decline in computational power needed for quantum computer to solve the molecule modeling tasks relevant in this area. And you can also see that 1% of increase in market share due to new electronic products may lead to the additional revenue of $290 million per year. Healthcare, the applications are diagnosis assistance, insurance premium pricing, precision medicine, drug discovery, and so on. And you see that the set statistics give us the values of 5 to 20% of wrong diagnosis among all established, and unfortunately, highly unfortunately, up to 200,000 people die each year in Europe due to adverse drug reactions. The application of quantum computing in communications are also quite wide. First of all, there's a large-scale network management, the tasks of load balancing and routing, anomaly detection, prediction of quality of experience of a user, and the database search. All right, now let us discuss what is the current status of the quantum computing technology right now. As I've mentioned already, the universal quantum computer that would enable quantum supremacy is not ready yet, but those NISQ computers are already capable of solving relatively small tasks, proving by this the fundamental possibility of quantum supremacy in the future. For example, there have been an experiment where the Scholl algorithm run on a small quantum processor decomposed the number 15 to the multipliers of 5 and 3, which is a great success. As you probably know, the quantum processor may be realized in different physical platforms. There are many of them, like superconducting qubits, cold atoms, quantum dots, photonics, trapped ions, and so on. Here I name several of them, and we begin with the superconducting qubits. Well, the main features of the technology is the following: that superconducting qubits is the most successful implementation of NISQ computers. For example, IBM and Google possess superconducting qubits-based quantum computer. The qubit systems are quite large, For example, there is 53 qubits at Google Sycamore and 127 qubits at in IBM Eagle. Yes, there are some problems with quantum error corrections, which imposes difficulties with scaling. Cooling to microkelvin is required, but the forecasts are quite promising. For example, there have been a launch of 433 qubits IBM Osprey processor last autumn. Let us see where it will lead us to. The key players here are, I name a few, of course, the IBM, Google, Bugatti, Alice and Bob. Here you see the name of the universities where the company is basing the research on. For example, IBM is based on MIT, Rigetti on Berkeley, and so on. As for the cold atoms, the qubit systems are again quite large. There's a 256 qubit achieved by Q-era. The scaling forecasts are also promising. There's hundreds and thousands of qubits in the nearest future. Cooling to microkelvins is also required, and there are some problems with 2-qubit gates fidelity. The key players, again, a few of them is Q-era from the USA, Pascal from France, Cold Panther, USA, and Atom Computing from USA as well. As you see, the main features of the players are the following. It's either the corporation that has a separate scientific department for fundamental and applied research, or it may be a special company that focuses on quantum computing, but it needs to attract a significant investment. For example, it would be $25 million for launch and around $10 to $15 million yearly for maintenance. The next technologies are the following. First of all is trapped ions, the best quantum gates in terms of fidelity, 100% true. The qubit systems are relatively small. There's 20 qubits in IonQ area processor. Cooling to microkelvins is still required, but the error correction is quite good. Yes, the error rate dramatically rises with scaling, so there are some problems with it. The key players you may see on your screen are IonQ, Alpine Quantum Technologies, Quantinuum, photonics. The best thing of them is that they operate under room temperatures. The qubit system are quite large again. For example, you see 216 qubits at Xanadu Borealis. Manufacturability of components, that means the technology of manufacturing the circuits is quite well known. Yes, large number of optical elements for implementation of a quantum gate, which is not the best thing about the quantum processor, and the problems with scalability. You can also see the major players in this area and the universities that they are partnering with. The features of all the companies in this domain are pretty the same as they've been earlier. There's a special companies that are focused on quantum computing, attracting large investments, and you may also notice that almost each company is based on a partnership with a university. Okay. By the way, let us get back to this slide. As you see, that the characteristics of the quantum computers based on this or that platforms are different, and it is very hard to say which platform is better. For example, you see that I've mentioned that the amount of qubits achieved in cold atoms are larger than in superconducting qubits. If we don't count this 433 IBM processor recently launched, the case is that the amount of qubits possessed by a quantum computer is not the unique characteristic of the quantum processor. For example, in this particular case, despite the fact that cold atoms possess more qubits, the quality of these qubits is a little bit worse than the quality of qubits in superconducting platform. That means that there is a vast uncertainty in terms of the platform, which would be the first one, the best one, in terms of building universal quantum computer and enabling quantum supremacy. Yeah, but let us now talk about how to develop a quantum computer on your own. For example, if you wish to develop this technology in your own company. First of all, let me notice that the quantum computer is a multi-level system, and it doesn't operate on its own. It's always integrated with classical control equipment. Moreover, the programming tools, special programming tools, are also required. We begin with the first layer, the first level of quantum computer, which is indeed quantum hardware and software. It's a quantum processor. There's cold atoms, reptines, atomics, and so on. There can be systems for distributed quantum computers, which is sometimes called quantum internet. This is a technology to unite several processors using quantum entanglement and to perform distributed quantum computations. Yes, and quantum error correction codes, which I talked about briefly some time ago. The features of this technology is that you need very expensive equipment to conduct the research. In order to serve this equipment, you need very highly qualified specialists. Usually, those are the PhD level scientists who are capable of working with cryogenic facilities, optical equipment, and so on, measurement, testing equipment, and so on, and the research laboratories, which is also quite a costly thing. The second level is the firmware, which is an interface between quantum processor and classical control unit. Usually, it's a special microelectronic devices with a appropriate software, which is in general usually referred to as a firmware. And the last layer of a quantum computer is a classical software and hardware which controls your computations. This includes the quantum algorithms, the theoretical concept of the quantum algorithm, quantum programming tools, which include quantum programming languages, compilers, libraries, and so on, and building a cloud access to your quantum computer for your colleagues or your clients be able to have an access to your quantum computer. The last layer may be developed by classical developers, software engineers, and so on. There is no need for PhD level scientists in order to develop this part of a quantum computer, but still some competency in quantum mechanics is required to understand these algorithms and to understand how should you develop your software. All right, now we're moving on to quantum cryptography or quantum encryption. Let me give you a brief definition, which says that quantum cryptography includes a series of algorithms that are resistant to attacks by both classical and quantum computers, which is ensured by the principles of quantum mechanics as well. Traditional, as you probably know, traditional public key cryptography relies upon mathematical problems that are difficult to solve on classical computers. For example, it's the composition of large numbers for the multipliers. However, popular cryptographic schemes such as RSA or ECC can be easily broken by a sufficiently large quantum computer, which in turn imposes high industrial demand for secure or quantum secure communications. Here I list some industries which demand safe communication. First of all is again banking and financial institution. They need to secure the critical link between front office and back office operations. They need also to secure communication between financial institutions. Data centers and DRC, disaster recovery centers, those are the data storages which need their information to stored safely. Government and defense agencies need to secure transmission of sensitive data between crucial state defense facilities. We can also protect critical infrastructure, civil infrastructure, with the use of quantum communication by, for example, achieving secure transfer of data between remote industrial production facilities as well as critical infrastructure facilities. Telecommunications maybe is the most demanding industry among all, since it may provide secure communication as a service for B2C, B2B, and B2G clients. The automotive industry, for example, has the need for secure communication between autopilot cars and controlling units. All right. Let us now, again, discuss what is the current status of this technology of quantum cryptography. First of all, let me notice that it is the most implementation-ready technology since some solutions are already available in the market. These solutions are mainly concerned about quantum key distribution. However, quantum cryptography includes many directions like post-quantum cryptography, mistrustful cryptography, position-based, and so on. There is also a quantum secured blockchain system that has been recently developed in Russia, by the way. But if you just buy the solutions that you can acquire the market and just employ them on your own network infrastructure, what you will get is the quantum secured channel, which is not the product the customer is willing to pay for. What a customer is indeed willing to pay for is a quantum network, which is possible to be built with the use of this QKD systems available as a building blocks. So let us briefly discuss the characteristics of existing solutions. First of all, those are quantum key distributors. First of all, they allow data transmission almost all through only a fiber optic channel. A quantum random generator is required to ensure the security. Currently, the majority of protocols use the two physical data channel scheme. That means that you've got a quantum channel, which distributes the key, and a classical channel where the encrypted data is traveling. From the industry point of view, this doubles the wire expenses. Well, quantum signal loss is quite classical, 0.2 decibel by kilometer. The maximum distance achieved between trusted nodes commercially is about 150 kilometers. This is the result from ID Quantic. The key rate is something like 100 kilobits per second. Current research imperatives and the latest achievements include the following. First of all is the developing of transmitting of quantum key distributed signal or quantum encrypted data through atmospheric channel. That means to a satellite, from the satellite, and between the satellites. The second imperative is quantum repeater. It does not exist yet, but without this signal repeater, we cannot enlarge the distance between the trusted nodes, and we need to use the trusted nodes to build a quantum network. Yes, maximum distance between trusted nodes is now achieved in laboratories in the range of 300 to 400 kilometers, and the key rate is scientifically achieved to be about 100 kilobit per second. So the key players here are the following. Of course, I name a few who are Toshiba from Japan, Major Q, ID Quantic, QR Crypto. Almost all of them, again, are based on the partnering universities. So the companies that are developing such solutions are, again, either a corporation with separate scientific departments, or the companies that are specialized in developing of quantum secure communication. This can also be companies that provide equipment, as ID Quantic does. And as I've mentioned already, almost each one is based on a partnering university. Now let us, I will try to do it briefly, discuss the major challenges that you will encounter on developing a quantum network. As I've said already, you've got ready to buy quantum key distribution solutions. All the problems arise when you're trying to integrate those into your network infrastructure. First of all, those are the challenges on the physical level of integration. The first one is the limited distance between trusted nodes. As I've rightly said just above, they may not be located quite far away from each other. but for example, for a big country, that could be a problem. Quantum repeaters do not exist yet, completely true. So you need to either place a lot of trusted nodes or to invest into research in quantum memory to develop this quantum repeater. Current testbeds are designed as separated networks. This is for the reason that quantum signals are very loss sensitive and are sensitive to interaction with the environment and to non-linear optical effects like four-way mixing, relay scattering, and so on. So it's another industrial problem, how to separate the quantum channel from the environment. Yes, current quantum key distribution protocols require 2 wires, which, industrially speaking, again, doubles the expenses. Yes, in order to integrate the fiber optical subnetwork with an atmospheric subnetwork, which uses satellites, you will need to physically integrate this to subnetworks because the encryption principles in fiber optics and through atmospheric channel are different. In atmospheric, it's phase encoding, and through the fiber optics, the polarization is used to encode the state of a photon. From the logical point of integration, the major problem, I think, is building the interface between classical data forwarding plane of the software-defined network. This is what is standing for SDN, and the quantum forwarding plane. This would be the main challenge. Side challenges are quantum key management and secret sharing, and I would point out this challenge concerned about arbitrary stationary dynamic network topologies as also one of the most important, because current solutions are designed for small and stationary topologies. If you want to integrate those solutions to very big networks with arbitrary stationary topologies, you will need to develop such logical infrastructure that your quantum key distributors would manage the topology, and moreover, if you launch satellites, the topology of the network becomes dynamical because satellites move in the air. So this would be quite a great challenge. All right, now we are moving on to so-called quantum-inspired classical computing algorithms, and we're beginning with defining what is it. Well, as I have mentioned already as well, those are the approaches that employ classical hard and software, but in a theoretic nutshell of an algorithm or neural network architecture. Such principle of quantum mechanics as quantum entanglement, superposition, tunneling are used. Implying quantum properties to classical systems may lead to noticeable improvement in convergence speed, convergence rate, and error rate of the algorithms on a variety of tasks compared to the classical counterparts. But I should notice that there is no perfect theory developed for such kinds of algorithms. They are mostly based on some physical imperatives or heuristics, and it is very rarely stated in scientific articles why this or that heuristic has been picked. A representative scientific article in this field looks something like this. The author imposed some assumptions regarding the quantum nature of the system that they're going to consider. Then they build up the algorithm itself and then prove that it overcomes the classical counterparts on some tasks given the particular architecture of the algorithm or of the neural network and so on. But it is usually not very much clear how to build the algorithm of one's own, or how to pick up these assumptions or these empirics from the quantum world. That means that in order to employ such kind of techniques into your business, you would need to either pick some existing solution, which I point out here with the problem that they solve, such as classification, image processing, forecasting. Those are mostly referred to quantum-inspired classical machine learning and optimization. I also give here the information about the description of this algorithm. I think there is no need to bother yourself with all these abbreviations. For example, it's QGA stands for quantum genetic algorithm, QPSO is quantum particle swarm optimization, QNN is quantum neural network, and so on. And the comparison with classical counterparts is also provided. For example, you may see that neural network trained with double chain QJ is better than backpropagation neural network of the same amount of neurons and of the same amount of layers of the neural network. Anyway, you would need to pick something up from the existing approach. There are hundreds and hundreds of articles regarding this, or you would need to develop something on your own. The good things, however, come from the fact that you don't need any special facilities to build up quantum-inspired classical algorithms, unlike the situation with quantum computing and quantum cryptography. Classical developers and software engineers are enough to develop such kind of algorithms. However, the understanding and some proficiency in quantum mechanics is required to understand all the scientific articles. Okay, now let us talk about the business development of quantum technologies. As you may already understand, quantum technologies impose very risky and highly uncertain business environment, mostly because of quantum computing, which have a very big uncertainty regarding the best platform of qubits. But anyway, the development of quantum technology mostly requires advanced equipment, special highly qualified professionals, and interaction with hardware producers, both quantum hardware producers and classical hardware, firmware, and so on producers. Hence, to my point of view, the only way to sustain the development of quantum computer for a company that is willing to do this is to establish or join a so-called quantum ecosystem. Here I point out the key challenges in development of quantum technologies that may be resolved with the use of quantum ecosystem that we will come to a little bit later. So the first challenge is rapid and uncertain development of quantum technologies, especially quantum computer. As I have mentioned already, nobody knows where it will go. We have got quite clear understanding that the quantum supremacy is achievable, but which platform and exactly when will deliver this supremacy is still unknown. This imposes highly uncertain, rapidly changing and risky business environment because you don't know where to invest with 100% return. Building quantum capabilities from the scratch is impossible. It is completely true because quantum technology has a very special learning curve. And if you start doing everything from the very scratch, you will waste tons of time on building laboratories, inviting professionals and so on, and rebuilding all the results, and realizing qubits and so on. Developing all of this quantum infrastructure from the scratch and on one zone is impossible. Yes, because of uncertain and changing and risky environment, a company would severely need good cooperation and adaptation for a changing environment. As I've mentioned already, long-lasting and expensive research is required as well, with special equipment and general laboratory facilities, which in turn require specialized personnel, which are very hard to find and which are already localized in scientific research labs, scientific centers, and so on. And they already form teams there. Apart of all, the in-house quantum capabilities are still required at minimum in order to interact with quantum partners, and at max in order to develop quantum capabilities and quantum solutions from inside the company. For example, the cloud access for quantum computer, or developing of quantum algorithms, or just experimenting and so on. Yes, and the development also requires involving of several industries. I've mentioned already the hardware and software providers for quantum computers and for quantum cryptography solutions and so on. Hence, the way out of it may be the following: the quantum ecosystem, which imposes synergy between production companies, academic institutions, research labs, startups, and so on, empowered by discovery-driven enterprise, which we will discuss a little bit later. Empowered by this business model, a quantum ecosystem enables a company which wishes to develop quantum capability with all necessary professionals and equipment. It gives a good room for flexibility, and cooperation, and mitigates risks associated with highly uncertain business environment. Moreover, it gives a room for developing of fundamentally new quantum products, for example, with distributed quantum systems, but I will talk about them just a few seconds later. Here I give the main imperatives on building this quantum ecosystem. The first imperative, as I mentioned already, is the discovery-driven enterprise. This is a particular business model of a company which refuses of traditional planning and obeying strict strategies, making planning and decisions based on experiments rather than on data, as it is usually assumed in all current, in the majority of current technological strategies of the modern companies. So here we would need to rely on experiments rather than on data in order to be able to be flexible and adapt quickly and to change the strategy and to figure out what kind of research should we do next, what kind of groups should we may establish partnership with, and so on. In-house quantum capabilities, as I've already mentioned, are needed for the internal research and for providing expertise to the companies you're partnering with. The particular quantum ecosystem should be focused on tasks that are specific for a particular company. For example, if a company is mostly concerned about quantum cryptography, then probably doesn't need capabilities in quantum computing. On the other hand, if the company is mostly concerned about quantum processors for particular tasks solved in a particular industry, then the focus should be the following, which would be served by a special selection of partners from both academical and production points of view. So those are the research centers, laboratories, developers, and so on one side, and the industrial hardware, software producers from another side. International partnership would only make the ecosystem better, enabling the transfer of technologies between different states. Common and clear rules will enable the ecosystem to be very flexible and capable of rapid rebalancing and adaptation due to entry and exclusion of all the new participants due to common and clear, transparent rules. The startup is that it's a department of this quantum ecosystem that mitigates risks of uncertainty. For example, if you decide to put the majority of investment in cold atom research, then you would lack the attention to quantum dots, trapped ions, and so on and so on. So building up a startup for the startups to develop their own technologies on their own risk would mitigate the risk taken by your company. And if some startup is developing some good technology on some particular platform, you may just acquire this company and add the investments that you give to development of this particular technology. One of the most interesting things here is synergy. Of course, you will find the synergy between the universities and between the hard and software providers that you are partnering with. And of course, you will avoid duplicating of tasks. But the synergy may also result in the possibility of developing the fundamentally new products. For example, I've mentioned several times the notion of quantum internet or the distributed quantum computation systems, which require several computational platforms to act simultaneously. And for example, if one research university that you are partnering with has got the photonics quantum processor, and another university has the superconducting qubits computer, you may invest in researching and merging these two platforms together and conducting the distributed research, which would not be possible if you wasn't partnering with several universities, and due to this, you will enable production of principally new products, which are impossible to develop on a company's own or on a university's own, usually. Well, this is roughly the end of my speech. I'm very thankful to all the attendees for listening to me. And now I'm giving the word back to Sasha Lazarevich so he could probably read out some questions, if there are any.
Thank you very much, Andrei Dmitrievich, for this fantastic presentation. I think we learned a lot in different fields about technology and also about the business transformation and how to organize ourselves in this in the future with respect to quantum computing. So yes, thanks. And I would like to open now for questions from our group. So as we are not really a large group, I would ask people, feel free also to unmute yourself and ask verbally, or if not, I can also read from the chat. So.
Yeah, looks like there are no others who are brave enough, so I'll start first. First of all, Andrei, thank you very much. This was very, very interesting. Huge amount of data, not easy to follow, so I'll have to all see the video afterwards again. I have two questions. First is purely, I'll just say scientific. You mentioned quantum blockchain was developed in Russia. So can you please tell us a bit more about that? And second question is, during presentation, we saw several times the companies and universities which are developing quantum technologies that mainly based in France, Switzerland, UK, US, but we haven't seen, for example, in Russia or China. I don't doubt there's enough of skilled people, but what is your opinion, or why, for example, Russian companies are not, let's say, known in the area, as, for example, Western European or North American are?
Okay. I've heard the first question about quantum blockchain, but regarding the second one, may I ask Sasha to repeat what is the main point, because I didn't hear it well because of the connection.
Yeah, okay. Yes, so Slobodan asked, what do you think about Russian companies in this field? As on the slides that you have shown, they were predominantly American or British or Western European companies. So what's going on with companies from Russia? And I've heard also Slobodan mentioned China. So, but if you can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. First of all, about quantum blockchain. As far as I know, this technology, I didn't get much into it, but as far as I understand it, it's just secure communication between the nodes of this blockchain system, secured by quantum key distribution. The case here is not only that you need to develop the principle and the principle itself. For example, the principle of quantum key distribution. There are very widely known protocols for this type of communication. For example, BB84 protocol or EA91. The case is to make the make a product that will be compatible with the system you are using it with. And as far as I understand, the discovery of the development of Russian scientists in this field, that they have managed to apply this system to the special environment of blockchain data exchanges. Regarding the second question about Russian companies in this field, I should say the following: that the development of the level of development of quantum technology sub-areas, subfields is not as good as it is worldwide. For example, well, it's quite difficult for me to make up a particular example, but I know that the technology is not that much advanced, hence it still needs additional research to reach the world level, and this research is mostly done in academical universities with students, PhD students, doctors of science, and so on. So as far as I know, in Russia, it's more scientific area than an area that can be viewed as the business direction. However, there are some solutions in the field of quantum cryptography and the certified solutions that can be bought and used exactly as the ID Quantic from Switzerland. So some developments are present, but still the technology needs additional development. And as for the companies, and as for the companies, there are, because of this preliminary level of development, of course the results are great and very good, but they are still need to be developed a bit more to reach the world-class standards. And basically, this is the main reason why the companies in Russia probably are not that well known globally for their developments in quantum sensing, cryptography, and so on and so on.
Okay, thank you. Other questions?
Can I just
yes.
like a small comment? And I'm quite disappointed with the state of the quantum computing today. So I was trying to get into quantum cryptography field, and I work with IDQ and ID Quantic. And I recently made a posting on LinkedIn in this quantum crypto, or in the cryptography and the cybersecurity groups, and there are like hundreds of thousands of people. And my question was, are you quantum cybersecurity ready? And 58% replied, what quantum cybersecurity? So they don't even know. I mean, to me, it seems that today's cybersecurity is everything about social engineering. I mean, to call it cybersecurity. So then what do you think of all these areas is the most promising from your perspective? So I thought it was cybersecurity, but obviously people will wait till last moment, or they're not even interested in it. So.
Well, I know that people are interested in secure communication, and many top managers are aware of the risks that are imposed by quantum computers in the sense of breaking the classical popular encryption techniques. But regarding the most promising technology, it's difficult to say because quantum cryptography is the most implementation ready. There are working samples that can be bought and so on. So the research here and the development is mostly devoted to integration of this solution and to developing of this solution to some upper level. So, for example, serving the larger varieties of network topologies, extension of key rate, increasing the distance between the trusted nodes, and so on and so on. So it is promising, but the impact measured in money may be less than the impact from the quantum computer. But on the other hand, the quantum computer, as all of us understand, is not that much ready for implementation. First of all, we need to develop the basic technology, say the universal quantum computer, and to demonstrate the quantum supremacy. And after that, we can develop it more to increase the amount of qubits, to entangle these processes with each other, and so on. So it is less ready, but it's, to my point of view, it's more impactful. So it is quite difficult to say what is more promising. All of them are very promising. So if a company or a corporation has enough power to develop all of these technologies, then this company should better do it, or join any quantum ecosystem that is already present. For example, I know that there is a quantum ecosystem built by IBM, and you may join it as a private user or as a company. There is a subscription for quantum computations on IBM computers with a cloud access. So such solutions already exist. So that would be my answer.
Thank you. We have Luka Nedimovic. He says, may I ask something about Russian education system, considering you come from Moscow State University?
Do you want me to?
Luka, would you like to formulate your question?
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you for a wonderful talk and great job doing this presentation. I really love the template, to be honest, considering that many presentations around are mostly black and white stuff. So this really kept me entertained. I would simply want to ask you, how is Russia for, let's say, quantum computing as in universities and stuff? I have seen ITMO, should I say ITMO, University from St. Petersburg, doing something in field of quantum computing, but I didn't dig deep into it. I have seen Russian government offering some form of scholarships, or should I say grants for foreign students, and I have maybe considered applying there, but considering the whole state of the world right now, I was just curious, what are your opinions on that idea?
Well, the academic institutions in Russia have always been very good, especially in the fields of physics, mathematics, and programming, and so on. And there are plenty of research labs around Russia which are developing different kinds of quantum technology. For example, the ITMO university that you've mentioned, they have built the quantum network between Moscow and St. Petersburg, as far as I remember, maybe between St. Petersburg and some local town. So they are quite advanced in developing quantum cryptography systems. But anyway, there are a lot of opportunities, and there are a lot of remarkable scientists that are involved into this, and you may choose from many cities. If you want to join some of these programs, this can be St. Petersburg with ITMO and with St. Petersburg State University. It could be Moscow with Fistech, Moscow Physical Technical Institute. It can be Moscow State, Novosiberian State. There is a group of researchers in Kazan. which are mostly developing quantum cryptography, as far as I remember. And there are also special master programs that are offered by a variety of Russian universities. And these master programs are exactly devoted to a particular domain in quantum technology. For example, I was doing theory of condensed matter. This was my specialty. It's quite broad, by the way. Another specialty could be a quantum optics. Quantum optics is also a very broad domain that may include many subfields. Currently, later, like 2 or 3 years ago, several quantum technology-based master programs have appeared in quantum cryptography, for example, in quantum sensing, in quantum simulations, and so on. So you may have a search, and you will find exactly what you need in many cities of Russia and in many universities. So the opportunities are quite wide. But
all right, thank you very much for your detailed answer.
Okay.
Can I just have a comment again?
Yes.
Yes. So I just want to acknowledge Yuri Manin, who recently died in January, and whom I consider the father of quantum computing, or let's say grandfather of quantum computing. So how do you see him and his role in Russia?
Well, Yuri, of course, was a remarkable scientist, and he's, of course, widely known in among specific professionals. So, of course, any professor of a university that is involved in quantum mechanics and more or less has of course heard of him, and of course we treat him with a great respect, and he's indeed a great father of quantum computer. And it's a very great fact to think about that our by the way, I forgot how to say it in English. In Russian, it's called соотечественник. That means that the citizen of the same country, our citizen of our country, has become one of the grandfathers of quantum computers. So how can we treat him in other way?
Yes, it would be great if someone could. It has never been translated. His famous work in which he I believe in abstract. Introduced the idea about superposition and entanglement as a possible use in quantum computing back in 1980s, and everyone is just pushing Richard Feynman. I mean, okay, Richard Feynman is great, but he's not that. I think Yuri Manin is it's much more important. So it would be nice if someone would eventually translate maybe just that abstract to English,
yes,
and maybe
of course
somewhere.
This of course would be nice, but I should notice that Yuri graduated from Moscow State, same as me, and as far as I remember, he graduated from mathematical department. I didn't, but I know that people there are remarkable as well, and I'm sure that they respect Yuri, and that they will translate his works in algebraic geometry and other fields that he's been working in. So I'm quite safe about it. And as for another point that you've mentioned, it's a very common practice in science and physics and mathematics, where the fathers or the grandfathers of some technology are forgotten from time to time. For example, there is such notion in physics which is called the Poynting vector. Poynting is the surname, and in Russia we used to call this vector as the Umov vector. In memory of Russian scientists who also discovered this or introduced this concept into physics. But we can see from that from time as time passes, the name Umov vector transform into Umov-Poynting vector, and then to Poynting vector. And this is how another scientist could be forgotten But anyway, unfortunately, it's a common practice, to my point of view, in several scientific domains, not only in mathematics or physics, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Thank you. I just want to acknowledge him because he recently died, so
Yes.
in January. Yes. Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot. I have a question. I liked very much this, the slide among the one of the last slides about, well, how to organize better, to be able to exploit these different solutions and technologies by commercial companies. So I wanted to ask how to match different models, development, delivery models of the research and commercial companies. There is a huge difference. Commercial companies, they tend really to focus on immediate return, and they don't have the infrastructure, they don't have the processes, they don't have the policies to wait a long time. And the research institutions, and I mean, quantum technologies are still very much into the research currently. They have very long view, and sometimes it's not really commercially oriented. So it's the research, for the sake of the progress in the science. So I like this idea of quantum startup hub, but can you imagine, I mean, some kind of model or a framework that could be used in order to match these two different philosophies, these two different approaches and models, in order to be able to speed up the innovations in technology?
Yes, it's a complete true that scientists and businessmen come from two separate universes, and they've got completely different questions that they ask themselves. For example, as a formal scientist, if it's possible to say so, but anyway, I was somehow involved into scientific research. I can say that the scientist usually doesn't ask himself or herself the question why I'm doing something. He or she is doing it just for the sake of interest, not because of there could be some product that I can develop now, and this is why I'm putting this laser particularly here or something like this. On the other hand, businessmen are focused on products, deadlines, roadmaps, strategies, and so on. In order to bring these two worlds together, you need some kind of special stuff, like me. I'm sorry for saying good things about me, but but it would be very great if there is a staff member of yours that has a great understanding or some understanding of the physics that is going on. So he or she basically, or it's better to be a bit advanced in understanding of quantum cryptography, sensing, and all the physics. So he or she needs to have an education that is suitable for such tasks. And on the other hand, the background in some business development, economics, and finance, so the vision of how this scientific things could gain revenue for the company in the perspective of several years. If this person has these two groups of competition, then he's the right one to merge these two words together. So he can talk one language with scientists and talk one language to business people. Yes, and you've mentioned that the research will be long. It will be long in any case. There is no other way to come to some research center and say that I need a quantum computer next year. Nothing will be done, even if they have a particular basis for it. So a company that is willing to get into play, it needs to understand that the research will be long and it will be expensive. If you want to possess the quantum computer, if you don't want to possess it, then you could join some existing quantum solution with the cloud using the IBM Qiskit, as I mentioned already, or some other infrastructure that will arise soon. But anyway, if you want to build it on your own, you will need to be you need to be ready for big investments and for long-term research and for building up internal competencies, for building up the strategy, for understanding the physical principles, understanding the business impact, who is capable of making some strategy, so speaks both languages. So this would be my answer.
Yeah, so people are the key, especially multi.
They are always the key. People are always the key. It's indeed true.
Yeah. I have another one. I mean, you work at a telecom company. So, and you mentioned satellites. So this is quite exciting field, actually. We're aware that Elon Musk launched so many satellites and they are being increasingly used for communications. Probably in the future will really have even more larger role in that. So how difficult is it to implement quantum cryptography on satellites?
Well, first of all, we need to consider a specific domain of atmospheric quantum cryptography. This domain is considered about transferring quantum key through atmospheric channel using the polarizations in phase coding as used in fiber optics. So separate measuring methods, separate physical implementation of quantum key distribution protocols are required, special hardware and special software. Everything of this is still under development because I didn't see any commercially available solution for atmospheric cryptography, but maybe there are something. I didn't see any of those yet. So first of all, you need to build up a scientific experimental model that demonstrates the communication through atmosphere with the given level of security, with all this physical infrastructure base and so on. When this principle is ready, you need to give a certain form factor to it. That means that if you have, for example, any production company as a partner, you will give it to them and they will engineeringly make this scientific model into kind of a box that may be installed in a satellite or in a ground station and so on. Of course, parallel development of ground stations, of the equipment and so on, and satellites is required, but these industries are quite advanced, so you don't need to build a separate ground data center for receiving or giving quantum secure information, but still, you need a certain satellites that will be equipped for the mission that they are assigned to. What would be their mission? To communicate with the ground, or communicate with the neighboring satellites into the constellation, or both? Will these satellites, a part of this, measure some cosmic radiation, or will they serve only as a communication node, and so on? After this, by the way, you need to develop the protocols, data transferring protocols, at least classic, because this could also be a deal, because all the satellites are moving and relatively to each other as well at some point, and hence they need to have some protocol to exchange the data classically. After this, the quantum key management for dynamic topology, then packing everything in a box, then equipping satellites with it, and then launching the satellites and demonstrating the first channel, the second channel, then the dynamics, and then the communication through a cosmic network. So it's quite a hot topic, but a lot has to be done in this domain.
Okay, definitely. Well, thanks a lot. Any other question from the audience?
Anyway, Sasha, I think that I will send you the presentation, or maybe I've already said so. I see that people are interested in seeing the presentation itself, so they will have an access to it.
Yep. Okay. Thanks a lot for this offer, sharing the slides with the people who are in the call. Thank you very much, Andrei Dmitrievich, for all your time and all the information that we could hear from you today. We wish you all the best in your future career on your dual path in quantum technologies and business transformation. And hope to have another occasion to exchange with you in the future.
Same from my side. Thank you very much for inviting me and for listening to my presentation. I'm looking forward for next meetups, and hopefully I will be able to participate. And let me thank all of the attendees for coming and for giving your time for listening to me. Thanks a lot, and goodbye.